You know that feeling. It starts as a whisper in your bloodstream, a tightness in your chest, a hum of static in your thoughts. The world hasn't ended, but your body, your nervous system, is convinced it's about to. We call this anxiety. We treat it as a warning siren we're forced to obey, a dark truth we have to listen to. But what if I told you that anxiety is not a truth teller? It's a misfire, a glitch in an ancient, beautiful system designed to keep you safe. And what if I told you that you hold the tools to recalibrate that system? Not in a year, not in a week, but in the next 10 minutes. It's not about fighting the feeling. It's not about yelling a calm down at a brain in revolt. That's like trying to reason with a fire alarm while the room fills with smoke. The alarm is just doing its job. The key is to show it there is no fire. This begins with a single radical shift. You are not your anxiety. You are the one experiencing it. It is a weather pattern in your inner sky, intense, overwhelming, but temporary. And you can learn to find shelter until it passes. So, here is your 10-minute shelter. It has 3 rooms. First, the room of the body. Minute 04, your mind has hijacked your body. So, we start by taking your body back. Don't try to quiet your thoughts. Just feel your feet. Right now, in your shoes, on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in your chair. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Now take one deep, slow breath, and as you exhale, make it twice as long as your inhale. Just one. You are not trying to achieve bliss. You are simply sending a counter message to your nervous system. You are saying, through the language of sensation, the body is here. The body is here. The anxious mind lives in the catastrophic future. The body only knows the present. Anchor yourself there. Second, the room of the senses. Minute 47 anxiety is a vortex that pulls all your awareness inward into a storm of thoughts. Your mission is to push it outward. Look around you and find 3 things you can see. Not just glance at, but truly see. The pattern in the wood grain of your desk. The specific shade of blue in a pen. Then 2 things you can feel, the texture of your shirt, the smooth surface of your phone. Then 1 thing you can hear, the distant hum of a refrigerator, the sound of your own breath. This is not a distraction. This is a deliberate relocation of your attention. You are pulling your consciousness out of the haunted house of your thoughts and into the tangible, real, and non-threatening world right in front of you. The most profound and liberating shift in managing anxiety begins not with a technique, but with a fundamental redefinition of what it is. We have been culturally conditioned to treat anxiety as a prophet of doom, an internal oracle delivering harsh, unavoidable truths about our future. We listen to its frantic whispers and its pounding heart as if they are delivering a critical news bulletin we cannot afford to ignore. This belief that anxiety is a truth teller is the very foundation of its power over us. It traps us in a cycle of listening, reacting, and panicking because to ignore a truth teller feels foolish and dangerous. But what if we have been misinterpreting the signal entirely? The radical foundational concept we must embrace is that anxiety is not a truth teller. It is a malfunctioning alarm system. It is a biological and psychological glitch in an ancient, beautifully designed apparatus that was built for our survival. This system, often referred to as the fight or flight response, is a masterpiece of human evolution, designed to mobilize immense resources in the face of immediate, tangible danger, like a predator or a physical threat. However, in our modern world, this system has not cleanly evolved to distinguish between a true threat to our life and a threat to our ego, our comfort, or our social standing. It now sounds the same piercing full-body alarm for a looming deadline as it would for a looming tiger. The feeling of dread before a public speech and the feeling of dread before a physical attack are physiologically almost identical. The system is misfearing. It is a smoke detector going off because you burned the toast, not because the house is on fire. Understanding this changes everything. When you believe anxiety is telling you the truth, you are compelled to obey it. You retreat, you avoid, you ruminate, you seek constant reassurance. All behaviors that, in the short term, seem to quiet the alarm, but in the long term, only confirm to the system that it was right to sound the alarm in the first place. You are, in effect, telling a faulty smoke detector. You are correct, the toast is a 5-alarm fire. This reinforces the glitch. But when you see it as a misfire, you can change your relationship to it. You can acknowledge the loud, blaring noise without believing its message. You can say to yourself, this is incredibly uncomfortable. My body is flooded with adrenaline and cortisol. My heart is racing. But this is a system error. This is a false alarm. This is not positive thinking. It is accurate thinking. It is accurate thinking. It is a cognitive shift from being a victim of the alarm to being the compassionate technician who understands the wiring. You stop fighting the feeling itself and start addressing the faulty calibration. This foundational knowledge is what makes the practical techniques possible. When you engage in deep breathing or sensory grounding, you are not just calming down. You are actively sending a corrective data stream to the alarm system. You are providing it with tangible evidence from your immediate environment. I am breathing slowly. I am safe in this room. I am noticing a pen on my desk. That contradicts its catastrophic miscalculation. You are not running from the alarm. You are patiently, systematically rebooting the system by showing it through direct experience that there is, in fact, no fire. The promise of calming an anxious mind can feel as vast and nebulous as the anxiety itself. We are told to meditate or be present. But in the midst of a rising panic, these concepts can seem impossibly abstract, like being told to calm a stormy sea with a whisper. The genius of the 10-minute framework is that it rejects this vagueness. It transforms an overwhelming emotional crisis into a manageable, structured process. It is not a single monolithic task, but a journey through 3 distinct sequential rooms, each with a clear objective and a finite timeline. This structure is itself a powerful antidote to the chaos of anxiety. Anxiety thrives in a void of uncertainty, amplifying the what-ifs and the feeling of being out of control. By imposing a simple, deliberate structure, a beginning, a middle, and an end contained within the known quantity of 10 minutes, you are immediately reinstating a sense of agency. You are no longer a passive passenger in a vehicle careening out of control. You are the pilot, following a pre-established flight plan through turbulence. The first room, the room of the body, is your initial point of re-entry into the present moment. It recognizes that you cannot reason with a hurricane, but you can anchor yourself at its edge. When your mind is a vortex of catastrophic future projections, trying to stop the thoughts is like trying to stop the wind. This phase wisely bypasses the mind entirely. It directs your focus to the most fundamental elements of your physical being: the weight of your body, the sensation of your feet on the floor, the deliberate elongation of your exhale. This is not a relaxation technique. It is a recalibration technique. You are speaking the primal language of the nervous system, sensation and breath, to transmit a counter message to the amygdala, the brain's alarm center. You are gathering the scattered pieces of your awareness and pulling them back into the container of your body, proving through direct experience that you are here and you are solid. The second room, the room of the senses, builds upon this physical anchor. Now that you are more firmly in your body, you turn its senses outward. Anxiety is an intensely introspective state. It pulls all your awareness inward to the churning world of your thoughts. The 5-4-3-2-1 exercise, noticing specific things you can see, feel, and hear, is a deliberate and strategic relocation of your attention. It is an active scavenger hunt in the real, tangible, and non-threatening world that exists outside the haunted house of your mind. Every texture you notice, every distinct color you identify, is another thread tethering you to the safety of the present, pulling you further from the abyss of imagined futures. Finally, the third room, the room of permission, is where the true transformation occurs. After you have grounded the body and engaged the senses, you turn to meet whatever residue of anxiety remains. This is the most counterintuitive yet profound step. Instead of continuing to fight, you lay down your weapons. You simply allow the feeling to be there. You stop resisting its presence. This act of granting permission is not surrender. It is a strategic masterstroke. Resistance is what gives anxiety its energy and its staying power. By saying, okay, you can be here, you drain it of its adversarial charge. You stop being a battlefield and become a vast, accepting sky, and the anxiety, no longer fought, becomes just a passing weather pattern within you. It may still be there, but it is no longer in control. The logic of anxiety is a cruel paradox. It convinces you that you are in imminent danger, forcing your body into a state of high alert while simultaneously pulling your awareness away from the very environment that could prove you safe. It locks you inside the echo chamber of your own skull, where the only sounds are the pounding of your heart and the frantic voice of fear. This is why intellectual arguments often fail in the midst of a panic attack. Telling yourself, "I am safe," feels hollow when your entire physical being is screaming the opposite. The solution, therefore, is not to argue with the mind using words, but to provide it with evidence using experience. This is why the first and most critical intervention must be a direct, unmediated conversation with the body. Your body is the ultimate arbiter of present moment reality. While your mind can be lost in a terrifying future or a painful past, your body only exists in the eternal now. The feeling of your feet firmly planted on the floor is a fact of the present moment. The sensation of cool air entering your nostrils is a fact of the present moment. The weight of your body being fully supported by a chair is a fact of the present moment. These are not philosophical concepts. They are concrete, verifiable data points. By deliberately shifting your focus to these physical anchors, you are forcibly extracting your consciousness from the abstract theater of fear and placing it back into the tangible reality of the here and now. You are gathering forensic evidence to present to your terrified mind. The simple act of feeling your feet is a powerful piece of evidence. It grounds you, quite literally, in the physical world. It proves that you are not floating in a void of panic, but are connected, stable, and supported. Then comes the breath. The breath is a unique bridge between the voluntary and involuntary nervous systems. You don't have to think about breathing, but you can consciously choose to alter its rhythm. When you consciously extend your exhale to be longer than your inhale, you are not just taking a deep breath. You are actively engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest counterpart to the fight or flight response. You are flipping a biological switch. A long, slow exhale signals to the primal parts of your brain that the emergency is past, that it is safe to stand down. This physiological signal is more potent than any mantra. It is the body communicating safety to the mind in a language the mind is hardwired to believe. This process is not about achieving a state of blissful relaxation. That is too high a bar and creates its own pressure. It is simply about changing the channel of your attention from the internal narrative of catastrophe to the external neutral data provided by your physical self. You are not trying to make the anxiety disappear. You are building a stable platform from which you can observe it without being consumed by it. You are moving from being a prisoner of your own physiology to becoming its compassionate observer and skilled regulator. The body, which felt like the source of the problem, thus becomes the most powerful tool for the solution. By reclaiming it sensation by sensation, breath by breath, you gather the incontrovertible proof that in this moment, right here, right now, you are anchored, you are breathing, and you are safe. The anxious mind is a vortex, a powerful inward spiral that pulls all your awareness into a churning storm of thoughts, predictions, and catastrophic imaginings. It creates a self-contained, terrifying reality that feels inescapable because all evidence to the contrary is locked outside. The more you focus on the internal narrative of fear, the more real and encompassing it becomes until the external world, the room you are in, the objects around you, the sounds in the distance, fades into an irrelevant blur. This is the trap of anxiety. It convinces you that the only reality that matters is the one it is constructing inside your head. The second phase of the process is a deliberate and strategic counter-assault on this vortex. It is a conscious, active decision to pull your attention outward. This is the purpose of this sensory exercise, the deliberate noticing of 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear. This is not a passive distraction, like turning on the television to drown out your thoughts. This is an active, focused mission of reconnaissance in the real world. It is a cognitive command you are giving to your brain. Stop looking inward. Look outward. Report what you find. When you force yourself to identify 5 distinct things you can see, you are breaking the hypnotic trance of internal imagery. You're not just seeing a room. You are cataloging the specific weave of the carpet, the way light reflects off a glass of water, the subtle gradient of color on a wall. This act of precise, focused observation requires cognitive resources that are otherwise being consumed by the panic. It forces the visual cortex to engage with the present, tangible environment, directly countering the internally generated images of disaster. Then you move to touch. Finding 4 things you can feel shifts the narrative from the visual to the tactile. You notice the cool, smooth surface of your phone, the soft, worn texture of your cotton shirt, the firm support of the floor beneath your feet. This is another stream of undeniable data. These are not feelings of dread or impending doom. These are neutral, physical facts. They are simple, unchangeable, and real. They anchor you not just in the present moment, but in the physical truth of your surroundings. Finally, you turn to sound. Listening for 3 distinct sounds pulls you even further out of your own head. The hum of a computer fan, the distant sound of traffic, the rhythm of your own breathing. These are all sounds that exist independently of your anxious story. They were there before the anxiety began, and they will be there after it passes. By focusing on them, you are connecting yourself to the continuous, ongoing flow of a world that is not in crisis. This entire sensory exercise is a systematic process of gathering evidence. You are building a case, piece by piece, sense by sense, to present to your frightened mind. The case is simple. The external world is stable, detailed, and non-threatening. The danger is not out here. It is an illusion generated in the internal world. By relocating your attention, you are not running from your anxiety. You are proving it wrong. You are demonstrating through direct, first-hand experience that the reality of your immediate environment is fundamentally safe, neutral, and solid. You are breaking the vortex's power by refusing to feed it your attention, and instead investing your consciousness fully in the sane and steady world outside your skin. The final, and perhaps most transformative, phase of this process is rooted in a profound paradox. The way to overcome anxiety is to stop fighting it. For our entire lives, we have been conditioned to view unpleasant emotions as enemies to be defeated. We tense up, we resist, we try to push the feeling away, to think positive thoughts, to forcefully calm ourselves down. We treat our inner experience as a battlefield. But this resistance is precisely what gives anxiety its power and its longevity. When you fight a feeling, you acknowledge its power and you enter into a struggle with it. You are, in effect, saying, you are a threat that must be eliminated. This adversarial relationship creates a feedback loop of tension. The anxiety triggers resistance, and the resistance, a form of mental and physical tension, creates more anxiety, which in turn demands more resistance. It is an exhausting, self-perpetuating war of attrition that you are destined to lose because you are fighting a part of yourself. The radical alternative is the practice of permission. This is not passive surrender or helpless resignation. It is an active, courageous, and strategic choice to cease the struggle. After you have grounded yourself in your body and your senses, you turn toward the residual feeling of anxiety with an attitude of allowance. You simply create space for it to exist. You might even silently acknowledge it. Okay, I feel you. You are here. You can stay. This act of granting permission is a psychological masterstroke. It fundamentally changes your relationship to the emotion. You are no longer the victim of a terrifying intruder. You become the host of a difficult but temporary guest. By dropping the resistance, you pull the emotional charge out of the experience. Anxiety, like all emotions, is a form of energy that wants to move through you. It has a natural life cycle. It arises, it peaks, and it subsides. But when we resist it, we trap that energy. We block its natural flow. We become a dam, and the pressure builds behind it. Allowing the feeling to be present is like opening the floodgates. It allows the energy of the emotion to move, to complete its cycle, and to dissipate. This is why when you stop fighting it, the anxiety often begins to diminish on its own. It's not that you have defeated it, it's that you have stopped providing the friction that was keeping it alive. This is the essence of making peace with your inner world. You are learning to sit in the midst of discomfort without being consumed by it. You are discovering that you are larger than your anxiety. You are the sky, vast and unchanging, and the anxiety is merely the weather passing through. It may be a storm, it may be intense, but it cannot harm the sky, and it will not last. And it will not last. By practicing this radical acceptance, you rewire the brain's deepest associations with this feeling. You teach your nervous system that this sensation, while uncomfortable, is not an emergency. It is a feeling, and feelings can be endured. They do not require a panicked response. In this space of allowance, you find your true power, not the power to control every inner experience, but the profound strength to host them all with grace, knowing that even the most turbulent storms will, in time, pass